Friday. Today's topic is 6,000 languages? Yes, we have 6,000 languages in the world today. Estimates say that around 2,100, that's 88 years, that we'll be down to about half of that number. So Google has launched a website called google.org, which is their philanthropic side, and there's a website called endangeredlanguages.com, and it's an interactive map that shows you where these languages are and why they're dying and how close they are to becoming extinct. You might think, golly, that's a lot of languages. And it is, you're right, that's a lot of languages. Google has set up this rescue effort of the languages by making it so where you can hear the languages and you can read them before they're completely extinct. Such as the Koro language, which is spoken by a very small population of people from India in the mountains, which was really unknown to scientists until just recently. And I don't know about you, but by the way some people reply and make comments on YouTube, I'm beginning to wonder how close English is becoming to total extinction. The death of 3,000 plus languages in less than 100 years is kind of a scary statistic when you think about it. I mean, at one point in time, Rome was the dominant country, dominant force in the world. But it's hard to find people who still speak Latin. And it was once very similar to English, whereas most people, part of the Roman kingdom, could speak Latin. If you were anyone who was anyone, you could speak Latin. They would come in and they would take over and they would want you to learn their language. Of course, they wanted you to keep your language too, but they spread it a lot. Almost wiped off the face of the planet, as in normal speaking terms. So it's not impossible that the same could happen to English, although I feel like English is more spread than Latin was for the time, when we have technology that is more advanced with record keeping and people communicating. So it seems difficult, but I'm sure to the Roman population it seemed impossible that the whole world would stop speaking their language. It's kind of scary for someone to think that their native language is going to be wiped off the face of the planet. So I think it's really cool that Google is stepping in and rescuing these languages from the pits of the past and forgetfulness. While it may not seem like a big deal for 3,000 languages that are hardly being spoken by the general populace to die out, but there's a possibility this could have some strange implications as far as culture and art and music and society exist. Does that mean that people are coming more to assimilate in a bigger group of people to know a language that more people speak in order to better acclimate to society, so that the smaller villages and the lesser known populations in villages and mountain areas are becoming obsolete, that people are moving towards city life, or at least community life? It's hard to say what the long-lasting impact of language death is, or exactly how they figure that that many languages is gonna die out. But it's interesting to think that what's happening as mankind, we're just slowly coming in to where we're all interconnected. You know, it's still true that half the world has never made a phone call. And then, some countries have internet on regular use and kind of would collapse if we lost it. So it's very interesting to see how much technology plays into the role of our language and how far it's dying. I mean, I've even read articles talking about how text messaging is killing language, specifically English, but I'm sure that it applies to all languages where people are texting. What do you think? Does it scare you to think that many languages are dying? Or are you like some people and say, well, not that big of a deal. They're not being used enough to stay around anyway. So it's kind of an odd thing to think about. To question how you feel about the death of language and cultures, because a lot of what holds some cultures together is their language. And it's a lot to consider when you think about changing times in humanity. But there will still be 3,000 some odd languages left, so let me know in the comments below what you think. Feel free to check out the website endangeredlanguages.com. It's very interactive. You can see a map of everything and you can learn a lot from just looking at it. So I look forward to hearing everybody's thoughts on this subject about languages. If I don't see you before then, I will see you next week for Fun Fact Fridays.